When I first started trading during the financial crisis of 2008, I didn't know my head from a hole in the ground. Anyhow, I would look at a chart. I didn't know what I was looking at. It's going up, it's going down. When do you buy? When do you sell? I didn't even know how to buy or how to sell or what a pip was or a point or a tick. But after a while, I found this. Buy when RSI gets to 30. And I thought, okay, well, that's exactly what I'll do. I didn't even know what an RSI was, but I found one and I put it on my chart, and I would buy it every time RSI got to 30. But I kept losing money because I would buy it down here, and then I would buy it here just as soon as RSI got to 30, which is right here actually, and I would continue to lose money. And I didn't know why, because everybody on the internet said buy when RSI is at 30. Well, it's bunk. And I found that out, and I vowed that if I ever became successful at this, I was going to write a piece of program that showed others how to use RSI and just about any other indicator out there. And that's what we're going to look at. So how often does the RSI work if you buy it at 30? Well, let's look at it right now. Right now, what I've got on here is the probability tool suite, version 3, which is just phenomenal, by the way. Okay, and I've got it set on how often does the RSI win if you buy it at 30 or you sell it at 70. I just put in a 40 pip stop loss and a 75 pip take profit because everybody on the internet says you have to have at least, a 1 to 2 ratio. For every one risk, you have to have 2 profit in order to make money. That's what they say. So it wins 34% of the time. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Even if I change the stop loss and the take profit, let me put it at 100 pip stop loss and 100 pip take profit. Oh, by the way, this is on an hourly chart on the Euro USD. Okay, now it works quasi. It wins 53% of the time, which is roughly break even. And if I get rid of all this, you can see exactly what happens. Right here, see this arrow? When price broke up above 70, what happened? Before it came back down to the profit target, it hit the stop loss. Right here, as price dipped down below 30, what happened? Well, the trade didn't really do much of anything, so it's right there in the middle. But we won't know until it closes whether it hits the stop loss or the take profit. It might come right back up and hit the take profit, but how often does it happen? 53.33% of the time. So it technically is profitable if you got the patience to go with it, but at least you know now. Well, what about if we chose, instead of a 100 pip stop loss, what if we take profit, what if we chose a 10 pip take profit and 100 pip stop loss? Oh, that's bound to be a losing proposition. Let's test it. Well, it wins 88% of the time. It is a losing proposition because in order for it to be profitable, you would have to win 90% of the time or better, and it does not. So it is a losing proposition. What if we wanted to look at options or binary options or various different strikes like that throughout the day or throughout the week? Here's a 7 a.m. expiry, and it shows you every available strike, or you can add your own strikes or whatever, but it shows you all kinds of different strikes and how often they win or lose. Right here we've got a down arrow, and this means that price will expire below the at the money middle line here, expire below here by expiry 50% of the time. It's a break-even analysis. However, in the money, just a little bit higher, finishes 62% of the time. They're more expensive, but it does finish 62% of the time. And if you want to do out of the monies, you can see that down here at 38% of the time. But how often do they win or lose in a row? You can see that here. We've got 5 consecutive wins in a row and 5 consecutive losses in a row over the past 221 signals. What if I want to combine it with other things, like, let's say, volume? What if I want to see what happens if volume is above normal or above average? Does that help or hurt the probabilities? Let's run it. Doesn't really do anything. Let's try below average. What if volume is below average? Well, it bumps it up a little bit. So technically, if volume is below average and you're trying to buy, let's say when when price gets up here into the overbought area, if you're trying to buy it instead of sell it, it wins 53% of the time, or it expires higher 53% of the time. But what about if I want to go back and do this take profit or stop loss? Let me go look at it here. I want to take a stop loss and take profit. I want a stop loss of, I don't know, 25 pips, and I want to take profit of about 35 pips. Let's see what happens. No, still not working. Not on the RSI, not like that. Now, it wins 43% of the time if you don't attach an expiry on it. So you can tell with accuracy all kinds of settings in here. What if I want to find out how often it expires, but it doesn't even touch there? Or what if I want to trade a straddle? You know, I can see dual expiry there, which means I'm going to know how often price closes inside an area or outside an area. I know how often it touches. I know how often it touches both any strike above and any strike below. I know how often it can touch and retrace. Like, let's say it pulls back for 40 pips. How often, when it pulls back for 40 pips, does it actually retrace and close above that 40 pips? And I can also tell if it pulls back 40 pips or 100 or 300 or whatever, how often that, if it does that, how often does it expire back above the normal ATM level when the signal was generated? And this is for Forex. Your basic stop loss and take profit, you can use that for Forex, stocks, and futures. Now here is where your jaw is supposed to drop. Here we go. What if I wanted to stop loss and take profit of 100 pips and 100 pips? I wanted to trade long only. I don't want to go short. I just want to trade long only. And I want to trade only between 4:23 in the morning and 17:09 in the afternoon. Only between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Now, how long would it take you to come up with probabilities to find out if a strategy like that worked? Okay, go ahead and start, because I'm going to start and I'll tell you it's 44.44% of the time. It's had 36 trades over the history that I have. It's won 7 times consecutively in a row and lost 7 times consecutively in a row. So what I would want to do is either switch my strategy, or I'm going to try to reverse it here. And now we have a 60% win rate. It wins 60% of the time. It's won 10 times in a row. It's lost 7 times in a row over the past 40 trades. Let's go look and see what that looks like. Signal came out here. Hasn't touched the stop yet, but it's getting really darn close. Signal came out here at 1. Here it lost, and here it won. It's kind of break even over the past few signals. And if we go back in history, we can see it won here, it lost here, it lost here. So in the recent history, it's not very good. Even though it's 60%, in the recent history, it's hitting stop losses a lot more than it's hitting take profits. I can use that data as well. I can go in here and I can say, okay, well, if I know that, I want to limit the amount of look back bars to 2,000 bars. I want to see what happens in the more recent history. Okay, so over the past 6 signals, it's got a 50% win rate, which is a far cry from that 60% we looked at a few minutes ago. And I know this. Now, how much information can you derive just what we've talked about in these past few minutes? How fast can you do it on your own? It'll take weeks. I mean, literally. I'm going to look back about 5,000 bars. Alrighty. Oh, see, now we're painting a different picture. You see, now over the past 18, now the win rate has went way down. Now, if I just looked over the entire historical thing, I would see a 60% win rate. And then whenever I started trading it, I would only have a 44% win rate. And that would make me lose. So, there you go. Those are some of the things that you can do with the tool suite. Wait till you see everything else you can do with it on your own when you're playing with it. It's just phenomenal. I mean, choose from any of these indicators, and you can run any of these indicators and use any of the other indicators and any of the other settings as confirmation. It's mind-blowing. Check YouTube, because there's probably going to be some videos out there pretty soon. All right, guys, I will talk to you soon. Enjoy. Bye.